of police officers drawn from different districts in the region to do training on human rights issues. How can they uphold rights of Ugandans? Many of the issues which were raised were around over detention, the issue of torture, camming, and then also extortion. But also people who are detained without clear reasons. How do you think this narrative is going to improve so that people understand that when they are arrested, they have genuine reasons for being arrested, but also their rights are respected?
Okay, my name is Senior Superintendent of Police, Latif Zake. I'm the Regional Police Commander, West Nile. I sit in Arua. Yes, now you witnessed the training that has taken place today for our officers drawn from various districts and divisions that form West Nile region. The emphasis in this training was on issues of human rights. There is no contradiction between our work as the police and the work of the Human Rights Commission or agencies that deal with human rights issues. There is no contradiction. Actually, what the police does, if you look at our mandate enshrined in the Constitution and the Police Act, the role spelled out for us to do and execute, clearly state that we are protecting actually rights of Ugandans and everybody within Uganda. So the training just re-emphasizes that effort in serving our people better. The other issues that come about, issues of maybe premature arrests, issues of over-detention, issues of protecting rights of all the vulnerable groups and everybody within our area of responsibility, I know it is within our mandate as the leader for the region to ensure that we try to deal with these issues. How? By addressing structural issues that lead to this. As you are aware, I've just been talking to my officers there. The police leadership is doing a lot to ensure that it works around the issues, the structural issues that impede our work in executing our work, by addressing the welfare concerns of the officers. And this, I mean welfare concerns at the work environment, but also at a personal officer level. At the work environment, dealing with issues of facilitation in terms of fuel, issues to do with maybe feeding suspects, issues to do with supporting our general operations within the field, issues to do with accommodation both for the suspects but also for the officers. So these issues are being dealt with at that level. As we talk now, like I said, there is a lot of support that has trickled down up the sub-county level, beginning with this financial year in this quarter. You are aware we are implementing the sub-county policing model, and the sub-county policing model takes services closer to the people. And the sub-county model is being implemented in phases, and a lot of resources are trickling down in terms of funding, in terms of fuel, in terms of supporting infrastructure, manpower, equipment, and all these other things that support our work. We believe that if we do all this, we shall be able to deal with human rights issues in a broader perspective. So that's what we are doing, to address those challenges that come along as we do our work that affect the people we serve in a negative sense. If a police officer is demanding money for fuel, like you said, and the IGP is sending fuel at the sub-county, then I should be able to put the officer to task to explain why would she demand for fuel when actually we are sending fuel at the sub-county. If they are demanding for money to buy papers, yet IGP has sent money at the sub-county level, we should be able to put task the commanders, the DPC or the sub-county commanders to explain why they keep extorting money from the people, yet actually the Inspector General of Police has given them funding to deal with these issues. So the Inspector General of Police and the entire police leadership is dealing with these structural issues in a broad sense to ensure that we address the gaps, to serve the people better and deal with all these issues that bring about flouting or leading to human rights violations. It is continuous. The officers are taught right from the training school on what to do. But sometimes we see mistakes happening in the field. Let's not attribute this to the general institution. Sometimes these are individual mistakes made by individual officers. But besides that, the institution has mechanisms within itself to do checks and balances to ensure that really we are complying. A human being is a human being. Sometimes you need to supervise, do command and control, put in place systems that ensure there is checks and balances to ensure there is compliance. So this continuous training helps us to, as a reminder that look, there is this mandate and we need to be adhering to this, and we need to be making sure that we respect the rights of the people we are serving, and I think it's a good thing. That's why we applaud the Commission for continuously engaging with us and giving us more knowledge about how to do our work.
To boost, so that your forces on the ground are not overwhelmed.
Now, manpower problem is a structural problem which needs to be really handled in a very broad perspective. And if you are aware, there are deliberate efforts by the institution to replenish its ranks with new manpower. Recently, we just recruited over 10,000 PPCs who are undergoing training in the various police training schools, which we think if they pass out, they will be a good addition to our numbers, and we shall be able to graduate sort of the issues of numbers within our sub-county police stations or even the refugee camps, as you were saying. So that one shouldn't be an issue. It's a structural problem, but the institution is handling.
Lastly, a number of the refugees have committed different crimes and they are in the different cells.
Yes.
How have you been ensuring that you also take policing to them alongside these other institutions?
A lot of engagements have been undertaken with the refugee settlement camps. Just myself, I've been here like for 3-4 months. We have had like several engagements with the refugee communities in terms of sensitizing them about the laws of the country, because even if you are a refugee within our country, you're not above the law. You're supposed to adhere and follow the rules and guidelines, the laws of the country. Being a refugee does not exempt you or does not give you immunity from adhering to the laws of the country. So we've been engaging them as at our level as an institution, police, supported of course with other stakeholders, but at our level we have also been engaging them, and those that go against the law, of course the law acts on them the way it acts on any other lawbreaker or criminal. So there are a lot of engagements.
Lastly, individual police officers take liability where they have maybe tortured or even abused the right of a civilian. What advice do you have for your fellow officers that are under you so that this law does not catch up with them individually? Because recently we had an officer who almost attempted suicide because he was asked to pay 11 million for an offense he committed.
Let's observe human rights while doing our work. After all, this is our key mandate. The role we are playing, when you look at our roles, like I've said before, the roles within the mandate we have as a police, is actually talks about protecting rights of others. If you're detecting and preventing crime, you are, ensuring security, peace, and all these kind of things. You are actually protecting what? So let's observe human rights while we are doing our work. It costs you nothing. We need to be professional. We need to handle humanly the people we serve and ensure that we are not again breaking the law. Because the laws on human rights are there. We even have, by the way, the UPF human rights policy. It talks about all what we expected to do. Of course, as a result of the national policies that relate to human rights. So these legislations, these policies are there. We need to read them and understand them and observe human rights. You lose nothing. After all, when you break the laws and you flout human rights, if you've heard about it, you take a suspect who has been tortured in court and the suspect raises the issue before the magistrate or the presiding judge, they will first look at that issue. They will first set aside your case and investigate the issues of torture, the issues of human rights violation. So why do you kill your good case by flouting human rights? You are not doing the country justice. So I encourage all my officers, we should observe human rights while doing our work. It is a mandate, it is a responsibility they have to extract.
Human rights is a subject taught by the Uganda Police Force at entry level. But human rights is work in progress. You cannot claim to know it all. There are emerging human rights issues which require additional training. That's why we work with the Uganda Police Force to organize these refresher courses. So I would like us to have an open mind. Don't say, why did they invite us here? What don't we know? You may find there is one or two things you don't know. And therefore this is a learning exercise from each other. We are here to execute a constitutional mandate. Very, very important, because we are governed by this constitution as the supreme law of Uganda. And under Article 20, the constitution requires all persons and all organs of state to protect, uphold, and observe human rights. And Uganda Police Force is one of the organs of the state. Now, that is one. Two, Article 221 of the Constitution requires, among others, the Uganda Police Force to observe human rights in the performance of your duties. Now, that is a constitutional dictate. So it is important to underline why we are here. We are not here to implement an ordinance. With due respect, ordinances are important. We are not here to implement an act of parliament, however important it is. We are here to respond to the constitutional provisions. Article 20, Article 221. But also under Article 52, the Uganda Human Rights Commission is mandated to establish a continuing program of research, education and information to enhance respect for human rights. So we are here on a serious national duty. I want to underline that, and therefore we should take this meeting seriously. Because whatever we discuss here has a direct impact on the welfare of the people. And the President saw holding this constitution on 12th May 2021 to defend the constitution and the welfare of the people of Uganda. So, what is at stake, the core element, is the human rights of the people. Human rights is very central in whatever is done. It is one of the tenets of good governance. You cannot claim to be governing people when you are violating their human rights. Actually, I tell people, government has the primary responsibility to observe human rights. There shouldn't be any government official violating people's rights, because government works through you and me, we the duty bearers. Therefore, we should not be violating people's rights. But what do we see? The Uganda Human Rights Commission has a tribunal. Some people have been found to have violated the rights of others by the UHRC tribunal, unfortunately including some police officers and other state officials. We have examples. If you allow, I will show you names of police officers who have been found by the Uganda Human Rights Commission tribunal and even courts of judicature, the High Court. Recently, when individual liability came up, there are individual police officers who have been found culpable and asked to compensate victims of human rights violations. So we are here to enhance the preventional role of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, to create awareness. You know, when we talk about protection and promotion of human rights, the promotional role is preventative in nature, to ensure that violations do not occur. Protection is hinged on stopping a violation which is already occurring or which has already occurred to provide redress mechanisms. But prevention is, like the old adage goes, is better than cure. We don't want human rights violations to occur. That's why we are here to talk about these things. We want to ensure we prevent violations from occurring. Instead of somebody being tortured and then is compensated, however much money, is not healthy. I usually give an example of a complaint we handled in Gulu of a gentleman whose palms were amputated on account of torture. And he was awarded 250 million, I think, yeah. But I ask people, who here would want his palms removed and they give you 250 million today? Say that you hold this book like this. You can't even hold a bottle of water. You'd have to do like this. And then they give you 250 million. Is it desirable? You see, I'm even failing to put it back down. So, human rights prevention awareness is core to the protection and promotion of human rights. And we want to place emphasis on that. And as you officers, be the gatekeeper for ensuring that violations do not occur, because they start from where you sit. Be mindful in your respective roles: detective, constable, OC station, district crime intelligence officer, whatever role you do, make sure that you employ a human rights-based approach. In the performance of your work, don't allow human rights violations to occur. Don't put emotions in your work. It is being emotional, overzealous, and getting annoyed that violations of human rights occur. Your role is to arrest, investigate, ideally to investigate and arrest, but time and again we've had discussions. There are times when you have to arrest as you are still investigating, and then hand over to the judiciary. But experience has shown violations occur because some police officers become angry and they want to punish the suspects, yet that is not your role. I don't know whether arresting is tantamount to punishment. The punishments are handed down by the judiciary based on a full blast hearing. But for you police officers to arrest, you beat, you torture, you abuse. I have heard the commander-in-chief saying no one is allowed to even abuse a Ugandan. We will talk about it. And that is the protector of human rights #1 for the people in Uganda. So, sometimes we make challenges unknowingly by being overzealous. In the quest to execute your duties, you go beyond what is necessary, and that brings problems. Therefore, you've been invited here not because you were spotted torturing people or violating human rights. No, we are simply doing our work as Uganda Human Rights Commission under Article 52. That commands us to establish a continuing program of research, education, and information to enhance respect for human rights. So because we believe every time we talk about these challenges, one or two people pick a leaf, and it helps in ensuring people's rights are not violated. That's why we are here. I therefore would like to call upon you to feel free, discuss with a free mind. Don't be biased towards Uganda Police Force. That's what I've always seen. Because today you are a police officer, tomorrow you are not. There is a saying that twice a civilian, once an officer. Before you became a police officer, you were a civilian. And there is no doubt that you are going to leave the police and you become a civilian again. So, be mindful of the life you live twice versus the one you live once. Twice a civilian, once a police officer. Therefore, the community from which you came is waiting for you to go back. I wouldn't want you to leave the police force as you are looking for land to migrate from your villages, because you were a problem during your term of service. Yeah. So let's observe the rights of the citizens. It will be very good for even ourselves. When you are a violator of human rights, it even torments you. It even torments you, your children and grandchildren. Would you like to be remembered as the notorious officer in Uganda Police Force, or an officer who promoted the rights of the citizens?